It'd help if I turn the mics on.
Oh, every time.
Every time. That typical phrase of 2020 to 2022.
You're on mute. Hello.
Hello. How are we all doing? Let me just turn this background music down. How are we doing? It's the, what am I doing? July?
It feels like ages since the last one.
It does.
Like, properly ages.
It's probably, this is probably a 5-week month.
Oh yeah, because it was 24th, wasn't it, from June?
So yeah, this is a 5-week month, which is probably why it feels a bit longer. We've also been particularly busy this month, so I think that always makes it last a little bit longer.
But we're here.
We're here. Right.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you are all doing well. Please, as ever, I think we've got quite a lot of new faces.
I think there's some new faces. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, a lot of names when I was sticking address labels on, I didn't recognise. So welcome. If it is your first Smashed Grapes live try before you buy tasting. I think we've got a lot of people who've bought tasting kits. That they've done the DIY.
You've done DIY, now
you want the real deal.
You've had your cheese,
exactly.
And now you're back for the live one.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Well, yes, welcome. So the way this works, please don't wait for us to get started. Grab yourself white wine number 1. So that is the yellow label wine 1. Pop it in your glass like we have here. Start sipping, have a little drink, see what you think. This is a live tasting. Obviously, if you are watching this back and it's not whatever day, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
If it's not just gone 7:30 on Friday, you won't be able to engage with Slido. But for our live events, we do use a system called Slido. You probably can't make it out, but it is on screen. We see it there behind us, but here it is.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Tracy and Kev.
Scan that QR code that is on the screen if you're into that kind of stuff, or get your phone out and go to slido.com and enter the event code SG Wine Tasting. SG Wine Tasting is the event code. That will allow you to do a bit of Q&A with us, do a bit of polling.
Tell us what you think.
Tell us what you think. We ask you kind of, look, this is not your average wine tasting. We're not going to ask you what kind of aromas you're getting, or, you know, can you pick up on the essence of decaying forest floor, things like that. It's very much more just, you know, straight down the line. What kind of things you tasted? What do you reckon? Which has been your wine of the night? Those kind of things. And, you know, ultimately, once we get, it's normally about 3 or 4 glasses in, that's when the questions really
People start getting a bit more lubricated.
Yes, exactly. But please, ask us anything, wine related or otherwise.
Yep, you know? Absolutely. If you don't want to get through a bottle of wine in about half an hour, maybe you do, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't want to get through a bottle of wine in half an hour, ask lots of questions to slow us down. Otherwise, we'll be done. Because yeah, it's all about, you know, what you guys want to know and us interacting with you. That's why we do these live ones, so that we can hear what you think, hear what your questions are. And as Dan said, no question is too silly or anything like that. You know, throw it up there. It doesn't even have to be wine related. I mean, we'll do our best on any subject.
Exactly.
Especially after a few glasses of wine.
We're here to help. We are here to help.
Red wines.
Red wines, yes. If you haven't already, please take your red wines out of the fridge. So those are the green label wine 4, 5, and 6. Please take those out. It's okay to put them somewhere, you know, slightly above room temperature if you have forgotten. It's going to take us, you know, 30, 40 minutes to get onto them, so they've got a bit of time.
Current climate, they should be fine. No need for a radiator.
No, God, it's been hot, hasn't it?
No, I mean, if anyone's got their radiator on at the moment.
No need for radiators, but yeah, just stick them somewhere. You know, I actually had this conversation with someone last week. People still have airing cupboards.
I haven't lived in a house with an airing cupboard since I was a kid.
I think when we got a combi boiler and got rid of the water tank, there's no airing cupboard.
No airing cupboard.
So there's no like
warm
hot
place,
room box, unless you've got a particularly fancy kitchen with a proving drawer.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Proving drawer.
I was off your Bake Off professionals the other day. So yes. Oh, James, Becky, Judy, and Steve. Hi. A couple of anonymous. Again, you can stay anonymous in the Q&A. But if you do want to put your name down, I think there's like a little person icon you can press that. Right, so yes, as we said, get white wine number 1, yellow label wine 1 in a glass, have a little drink, let us know what you think. And like I say, the reason we use Slido is to do little polls like, what are you tasting? So I've just launched that now. If you are on Slido, you'll see that crop up. If you aren't, get your phone out, go to slido.com, put the event code SG Wine Tasting in. We also have the chat on YouTube, but it's better if you can use the chat in Slido because it means I only have to look at one place and things don't get missed. But yes, what are we tasting here?
Okay.
We're going straight in. Number one, I think we've. Let's have a quick look. Let's see if we've. What have we got? Stats. There we go.
Pear. We're tasting wine. Well observed.
Yeah, there's a lot of wine.
Apple, peaches, lemon. Light. It is pretty light.
It is light.
Yep.
Yes. Wine with a. Oh, and emoji. I didn't realise emojis get picked up.
Oh.
Floral, peaches, smooth. One of the things we do as we go on through the night is you'll find that people get a lot more
Creative.
creative. I was going to use the word poetic. But
Oh.
they get a lot more creative with their descriptions, and we are all for it. Please give us your most creative descriptions as we go. Peach, green apple. Do you know what I think I need to do? I need to do a bit of a taste test on apples,
Right.
because I mean I don't eat a lot of fruit. Not through choice. It's just something I just don't find myself eating a lot of fruit. And as we've done more and more of these tastings, there's a lot of green apple and red apple.
You don't know what.
I don't know the difference.
No.
I need to get through it.
If you eat a lot of apples, there's definitely differences for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's difference in like the texture of an apple. You know, like which is the one that's like, is it like a jazz that's like really quite crumbly?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
You're not an
Yeah,
apple guy.
no.
But yeah, I know there's different consistencies in apples, but I need to do some flavour profiling of apples.
For sure. That brings us on quite nicely, actually. So when we're talking about fruity flavors, you might be thinking, oh, well, how do I know if a wine is going to be apple, if it's going to be pear, or if it's going to be pineapple, or if it's going to be banana, and what is that I'm tasting in the glass? Obviously, there's only grapes in this glass. At the end of the day, grapes that have been fermented and turned into alcohol. Where do the fruity flavors come from? Well, they all, and if you've been here before, you've heard me say this before, they all come down to climate, the weather in which the wine grew, and a balance between acidity and sugar. And those are two things that if you've been here before, you'll have heard me harp on about loads: acidity and sugar. Basically, cooler climate white wines, let's talk about white wines for now, start off, the cooler the climate, they have higher acidity, lower sugar. As we move into warmer climates, we get more sugar as they get riper, and less acidity. The acidity naturally goes away during the ripening process. How does that connect to fruit? Well, you can think about sort of the acid levels in different fruits, and there's generally a scale. Now, apple is winning 100%, green apple, loving that. For me, this is definitely a green apple wine. If we think about like the difference, Dan, between a green apple and a red apple, green apple is generally sort of a more acidic. They're sort of more of a crunchy, high acid flavour, whereas a red apple is a little bit sweeter than that. So
we've got some apple fans. Pink Lady
has just popped in there. Yeah, people showing off their apple knives now to make you feel silly.
Make me feel silly. I listened to a podcast recently that someone thought they could taste test apples and guess them, and they got them all wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe we're not as wise as we think.
Maybe.
So yeah, there are definitely scales. In fact, it's just occurred to me that the next wine actually has a signature apple-y flavour. The next one, but it's a different colour apple to what we've been discussing. But we'll come to that in a minute. So yeah, we're in a high acid white wine here. What does high acid mean? Well, it means it's refreshing, it's zippy, it's tingly. It gives us that nice refreshing feeling in the mouth. That's all from the acidity in this wine because it is a high acid white wine. And I think that is why we're getting those green apple sort of flavours. And we're not really getting any tropical fruits because we've just not got enough ripeness in the wine.
It's Dave's in the chat there. Hi, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Congratulations as well. Got married a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yes.
Easy drinking. Yeah, this is dangerous.
This is dangerous.
Danger territory.
Yeah. So should we say what it is now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go here, shall we?
So first wine of the night, brand new wine, literally straight off the press from one of our favourite winemakers, Cremricas in Romania. This is a different label. We usually stock their Umbrella label wines. So if you're a fan of smashed grapes and you've shopped with us before, you'll have seen the Umbrella, the Rosé, the Chardonnay, the Sauvignon, the Merlot, the Pinot Noir. Calasari is another label of theirs that they produce. Calasari, incidentally, is a type of Romanian dance. Did you know? But yeah, Vino Veri, they've released this called Summer Wine. Perfect timing, if you ask me. The hottest summer we've seen in a while to introduce a summer wine. Vino Veri, Summer Wine. It's a blend of 3 different grapes. It's about 50%, it's up there, 68% Riesling, And then you've got 29% Mostosa de Maderat, which is a Romanian grape, so you only find it in Romania. Maderat is a town in Romania. And then 3% Fetiesca Regala, which is another big, very popular Romanian grape. But the Riesling for me is doing most of the work here. It's, dry Riesling from cool climate countries. It's nothing like that sweet German sort of stuff that we remember.
I was going to address that. Riesling, it's divisive. It's almost as bad as Chardonnay when we go, oh, it's a Riesling.
People hate it.
Yeah, because, I don't think I've not really been into white wine for that long. So I've not tried a lot of these like really bad Rieslings, but it was bad, right?
It was bad, and also it was sweet, so those brands like Blue Nun or I think Liebfraumilch, they were created by the German market for a sweeter English palate, and we grew out of it before they stopped sort of sending it over, really. We grew away from sweet wines and we started to enjoy more high acid, drier white wines, and now we're living in a time where people love high acid, dry white wines. That's why Pinot Grigio and Sauvignon Blanc are so popular. So they were sweet. So German sweet Riesling, we had loads of it over here in sort of the 80s and early 90s. It wasn't very good quality. There is fantastic quality German sweet Riesling in Germany. They have an incredibly strict and very complicated sort of quality structure in Germany of how you can grade wines, and they have fantastic quality sweet wines. They also do dry Riesling in Germany. It's super popular in that country, and I've had many enjoyable dry Rieslings. But yeah, I think we're sort of clinging on to that old view of what Riesling is. Riesling also does fantastically in other countries. Australian Riesling from Clare Valley is fantastic, and this one is fantastic. And Chilean Riesling as well. Some of the coolest parts of Chile, down in Biobío, right down on the south. Fantastic, and it's in that cooler areas where you get the high acidity, the super dry, crisp nature.
We did one of the Biobío ones
recently,
a couple of months ago, and it was a hit. It was a hit.
Yeah, and it's quite a neutral grape, so it's more in the Pinot Grigio territory than the Sauvignon Blanc. So if you think Pinot Grigio, again, you're talking northern Italy, pretty cold, snow-capped mountains, that sort of thing. The flavours, those fruit flavours, are really staying in the sort of citrusy, appley area. They're not venturing up into sort of more melony or peachy or pineapple. There's just not enough sugar, there's not enough ripeness coming through in those types of climates. So it's more of a neutral flavour. So for me, there's not much more than that sort of apple flavour or that citrus flavour. But if you want a nice thirst quenching patio wine, that's the job done, isn't it?
I think that's why. I think it came up in the chat there like perfect summer wine. Mm-hmm. That's why if we'd have had this in last month,
super chilled.
I don't think we'd have had any left on the shelves.
No.
I'd have drank all of that in that sunshine.
For sure.
I can see that being a great one. And equally as well, when you like go around to someone's house for a drink, especially because it seems to be like the thing now, cost of living's getting really high. People are doing things at home. You're going around for drinks with your friends rather than going out. It's nice to take a bottle like that and be like, oh, this is actually Romanian. It's something. It's a bit of a talking point. So we do get a lot of people. A lot of people buy the Umbrella Sauvignon Blanc for that reason as well.
Yeah,
convert their Sauvignon only friends with something that's a little bit more, bit more interesting.
For sure. It's worth mentioning as well, we've just talked loads about acidity and dry wines and how we love those and they're zingy and refreshing. The secret to why this is so easy drinking, and it's exactly the same with the Romanian Sauvignon Blanc that we have, is actually a little bit of sugar. And you might be thinking, oh no way, Sam, this isn't a sweet wine by any chance. Well, all wine contains some sugar. Dry is about 6 grams per litre, so that's like a teaspoon. It's a teaspoon of sugar per litre. That's why it's not good for you. Yeah. So there is sugar in here, and getting the balance between all of that lovely, crisp, refreshing acidity and a little bit of sugar, and I don't mean they put it in, I mean it's left in naturally in the grapes from what ripening it does have. Getting that balance right, just like when you make your own lemonade, if you ever made your own lemonade, getting the balance right between lemon juice and sugar is where you get that perfect refreshment factor. So the bit of this wine that is refreshing is the acidity, but the bit of it that's making you want to glug it and have more and more and more, that's actually the sugar.
Yeah,
that's
the key. The natural sugar.
Natural sugar in the grapes. Yeah.
Right, if you have finished wine 1, I mean, I hazard that no one has left any of that.
No.
That's a good one. Get yourself Wine 2, so yellow label Wine 2. Get it poured out, see what you think. Just dropping up another little poll here. Don't think anyone was going to drop in with any of the Francesco Regla or any of that kind of stuff for their favourite wine.
Possibly not.
Just generally interested to ask what your favourite type or grape in the white wine world is. It gives us a bit of a steer as to our crowd out there, and given that we've got so many new faces, it's always good to know. We've already Chablis dropped on there,
Chablis.
along with Gavi.
Pease Porter. I don't know what that is. Maybe is it a brand or place? Don't know that. Gavi, very, very popular. I say very, very popular. Getting more popular. Gavi is a region, tiny little region in the centre of Italy. And then Gavi de Gavi is a commune, tiny little commune. All the best alcohols made by nuns and what's a male nun? Monks, nuns and monks. Clergy. Always. So Gavi de Gavi is a little commune in the middle of the Gavi region, which makes the best Gavi, apparently. So if you're looking for Gavi on the wine list, if it says Gavi de Gavi, expect to pay a little bit more. That's the region. The grape inside Gavi is Cortese. Cortese is the grape that makes Gavi.
We've got Picpoul up there.
Picpoul.
So Pease Porter is it's actually a village in Germany.
Ah.
It's predominantly Riesling and
Müller-Thurgau. There you go. Müller-Thurgau. They were using that at the English vineyard we went to.
Yes, they were. There are more news coming up, not this month, but soon on the English wines, by the way. If you last month.
Is that Welsh Riesling? Is that another German thing, or is it Welsh Riesling?
I mean, someone might have done a bottle already before this. Welsh Riesling. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Riesling's probably one of the grapes. Can we grow Riesling?
Yeah, for sure. Can grow Riesling over here. Viognier, great grape, really popular at the moment. Verdeo, basically the Spanish Sauvignon Blanc. Albarino. Got good, adventurous drinkers.
I think we've got some real adventurous people in this month, which is good because, it's good in that, it's great. This is why we exist, is to get people trying new things and drinking some of the lesser known styles, varieties, regions that ultimately give you a bit more bang for your buck. That is what Smash Grapes is all about. Cutting through all that snobbery and just, bullshit of the wine world. And just getting people, a bit more confident and trying new things. So to see that already, we're on a good footing.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you'll get on board with some of these other wines we've got coming up as well.
Yeah, Albarino, by the way, or Alvarinho, as it's known in Portugal. So it comes from northern Spain and northern Portugal. Is the main grape you find in Vinha Verde. If you love Vinha Verde, you're probably going to have loved wine number 1, because I do think the Romanians have styled it as a Vinha Verde, that blend of high acid white grapes.
Is Riesling similar to Gewürztraminer?
It's similar in the sense that they both do well in the cooler climates. They both do well in like Germany and Austria and at the Alsace in France. But it is dissimilar in the sense that, like I said, Riesling is quite a neutral grape. There's not a lot flavour outside citrus. Whereas Gewürztraminer is what we actually call an aromatic grape variety. Sounds a bit poncy, I know, but what it means is it's got lots of sort of different flavours going on. So Gewürztraminer, stick your nose in that and you might say it smells a bit flowery or spicy, or it has lots of different things going on, and it does that without the need of oak aging or any fancy lees aging or anything like that. The grape just naturally is packed full of like odd flavours. So Gewürztraminer, quite an unusual one. I love it. It is high acid, it's super refreshing, goes really well with like Asian spices and that sort of thing because of the unusual flavours.
And you said before, Riesling from like Clare Valley. Could Gewürztraminer, you don't really see that anywhere else, do you?
I don't think
so.
No, I think Gewürz would struggle in the hot, somewhere like Australia for sure. I'm not going to say Gewürztraminer can't come from any other country other than Austria.
But it's very rare to see it.
Or Germany, but yeah, it's rare to see it, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chileans have had a dabble at it, because they'll crack at anything.
Yeah, well, they've got the ability to do any climate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anything. Right, there you go. So, get to poured out, start having a little drink. Let us know what you think. You can use, say, the Q&A element of Slido. You can use the chat in YouTube as well. Questions, keep them coming. What are we thinking, or what are we tasting, in wine number 2? Someone's saying they had Gewürz in ours.
Really? I'd stand corrected.
Locally grown Gewürz, or just, maybe they just drank some.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could be.
Could be. Right. Yeah, what are we getting? Another apple, pear.
Well, I did say.
You did say
I did
that.
say.
Strawberries.
Strawberries.
We're getting
Definitely drinking wine number
pineapple,
2.
melon. Yeah, number 2. 2, please.
Pineapple, melon, sharp. I do think the acidity in this one is slightly higher than the previous one, and I tried to get them in lowering acidity order, but I actually think I've made a mistake in the sense that the acidity in this one is higher. It probably isn't. It's probably lower, but the little bit of residual sugar in that first one to make it so drinkable is creating a balancing act that this one doesn't have, I think. So the acidity is standing out a little bit more.
This is probably going to be one where you might need to take a couple of sips to just
get into it.
Get through that first drink, because you are battling against wine 1 with it. I mean, if you really want to, have a little sip of water between the wines.
Yeah, or get on some of those snacks as well.
Yeah, the salty snacks will help as well. Just coat your mouth, clear your palate. I think we've got the ET faced pretzels in there. They put the little cheese bites in this one as well.
Yeah, there's
the
cheese bites
crunchy cheese.
Yeah.
So get on some of those. They are actually going to make this wine taste great.
For sure. So we've got definitely a bigger variety of fruit flavors from you guys on this one. Pineapple has stood out. We've got apple, we've got pear, we've got grapefruit, we've got melon. So what's happened there is, in terms of our little scale of acidity and sugar, we've moved up slightly into more sweeter style fruits. Melon is slightly sweeter style, pineapple really at the sweetest end style. And that is because we have moved into a warmer country for this wine. And the warmer the country, the riper those grapes get, the acidity is coming down, the sugar is going up, and so we're getting a lot more of the slightly more sugary style fruits. The reality is the grams per litre in these wines is probably microscopically different. They're probably just about the same. So when I say more sugar, don't get scared that we're going into sweet wine territory or anything like that. Still a dry white, still bone dry, but the flavour profile is moving into those sort of more melony type flavours.
Team Nugent have just dropped Baby Sick.
Baby Sick? I mean, it's been a while.
Acid? Is that the acid in it?
I don't know.
I don't think it's that high acid.
No. If you love Sauvignon Blanc, this is bang in your territory. I mean, it's not Sauvignon, but it's bang in your territory in terms of acidity, crispness, that sort of thing.
Well, let's tell everyone where we are, and then we can talk around that slightly.
Okay, so I said we moved into a warmer climate. We are in South Africa. South Africa. Oh, let's turn that. There we go. And the signature white grape of South Africa, Chenin Blanc. We're in Swartland, Swartland. It's a region just above Stellenbosch, slightly more inland, north of Cape Town, north of Stellenbosch. And it's still on the Atlantic coast. So what you get with South Africa is this combination of an African climate, super, super hot, obviously, loads of sunshine. I think I read like 3,000 hours a year or something like that of sunshine. But you get the cooling Atlantic winds. And without the Atlantic Ocean and those brutal storms and those winds that blow in, you just wouldn't be able to do white wine at all in that part of the world because it would be too hot. It'd be too hot for the grapes. They'd get overripe. They'd lose that acidity and they'd become what we call in the game flabby, where there's just no bite to them anymore. They're just pure sort of sugary juice. Weird phrase, isn't it? Yeah.
We've battled with that one a few times.
Yeah.
We've never understood why it would taste flabby.
No, but there we go. That's what we call it.
I
kind of get it.
Or
No. It's just like it's got no bite. It's sort of become like. Bleh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the best way I can explain it.
Blur.
Yeah.
Blur. Okay.
So yeah, Chenin Blanc, very much the signature grape, white grape of South Africa. It's French originally. Came over from France several hundred years ago, and the South Africans have essentially adopted it as its own. It's in Sauvignon Blanc territory, as I said, for acidity and fruit flavours. For me, there's like back to apples, we're on apples again, there's like a yellow apple flavour to this.
How many?
Like a slight...
Hang on a minute. So for me...
Green, yellow, red, isn't it?
I would have thought a yellow goes green.
No. I don't think they go anything. A Granny Smith is always going green, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting confused with peppers. Peppers start green, go yellow, then red, don't they?
No, orange and red.
Get orange and
yeah.
They're all the same pepper.
I mean, I might be wrong. I'm no apple expert, but for me, this is like quite yellow.
I need to try
some apples.
I need
We'll do that
to
on the next
taste
one.
the rainbow of apples.
For sure.
I think I'm missing out here.
Yep. So Chenin Blanc, often overlooked, especially if you're a Sauvignon Blanc lover and you're looking for something different. Chenin Blanc is right up your street in terms of the acidity, in terms of the fruit flavors. Chenin Blanc also pops up in the wine Vouvray. So if you've ever had Vouvray from France, that is Chenin Blanc. Vouvray is a region and it's all made from Chenin Blanc. But yeah, fantastic white wine if you're into that sort of thing. And the South Africans, despite the heat, can do it very well.
Yeah, I mean, having been to South Africa.
Oh, here we go.
Drank a lot of Chenin. I actually really like a Chenin. It was one of the white wines that kind of I was like, yeah, do you know what? I could get into drinking wines. Now, this, I think this is doing a disservice to this wine after doing it. I mean, I don't think we could have done anything beyond wine one. I think wine one was so good. That Calasario was so good. So my plea to you is, grab a mouthful of snacks and drink the second half.
Do you think we should have done it the other way around?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's difficult. I think it's always going to live in that shadow. If you're looking for this, Chenin's really good, I think, in sunshine.
Yep.
But if I had a bottle of that or a bottle of Chenin, I would go for the summer wine, the Calasario, because it's so good.
Chenin is a little bit more weighty. It's got a little bit more body. That comes from slightly thicker skins than, say, your Riesling. So it might be better with food. You know, it could take on a bit of chicken or something like that. So it's maybe more.
A couple of votes in the chat for an apple tasting pack instead of snacks.
Right, easy, done. If they'll buy it, we'll sell it.
Yeah.
For sure.
How do we stop that going brown? Lemon juice it, but then it's going to affect the acidity.
Well, no, just a whole apple doesn't go brown, does it?
A whole apple.
Yeah, 6 whole apples.
A bag of apples.
Yep.
Yeah,
6 whole apples.
Dave prefer wine one. Shez prefer wine one.
Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah. No, look, I'm with you. I am with you, but my plea is give Chenin a chance. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like mega popular Chenin. Like,
no, it gets a tough ride.
Yeah.
It does get a tough ride.
Is there any particular reason? Is it like living in the shadow?
It lives in it just lives in the shadow of Sauvignon Blanc, I think. Yeah. And the thing is, South Africans are starting to do really good Sauvignon Blanc as well. They're really getting their cool climate wines down. Interestingly, like talking about the cooling effects of the Atlantic Ocean and cool climate white wines, when the Dutch first colonized South Africa, one of the colonies was founded by Simon van der Stel, which is where Stellenbosch gets its name from. He was one of the first people to rock up in South Africa in the 1700s, colonized South Africa. They turned up and they were like, bloody hell, it's windy. It is windy here. We can't set up camp until we sort out this wind. So they planted tons of oak trees, tons and tons, and that Stellenbosch means Stellen's wood, Simon van der Stel's wood. That's where the name comes. They planted all these oak trees, then settled. One of the first things that they did after that was plant vines, because they went straight in with the wine growing. Now, South Africa has this growing movement of they've realised that all of those oak trees are destroying the soil. They're ripping up all the nutrients out of the soil because they're huge and there's loads of them, and they're making it extremely difficult for normal agriculture, including wine growing, to survive. Then they're chopping them all down, getting rid of them, bringing back indigenous plant life. What they've discovered thanks to that is that if you put indigenous plant life back, the bugs that are eating your grapes go, oh, I remember that. I used to live on that. Yeah. Before grapes came along, and they're having less pests, which mean less pesticides. And so there's a huge growing movement in South Africa. They are leading the way actually in organic and biodynamic by moving back to this way where they're sort of being more sympathetic to the land around them, and they're really pioneering in that.
Nice. Yeah, and from that point of view of the Dutch obviously colonised South Africa, it is bizarre. It's like walking around an extremely hot Amsterdam. Obviously without the red lights and all of that, but it's strange. It's bizarre. Get yourself over there if you can. It's a hell of a place. Right, we are moving swiftly, but we're on time. We're moving, we're doing well. We're not going too fast right now. We're making pace. We're going on to wine number 3. So I did see a little note in the chat before. Your cards, we do seal them up with a little sticker and ask you to open them at the end so that you're not, there's no unconscious bias going on by knowing what grapes they are or where they're from and all that kind of stuff. So keep the cards in the envelope if you can, please. But yes, you'll notice when you pour this, despite it having a white label, it is a rosé.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rosé going on here. If you've done this before as well, you'll notice that we've got a plain box this month. We're doing a little bit of we're going to a version 2, aren't we?
We are.
A little bit of a packaging update. We've learned some lessons from the first box, tinkered. We've got some new pouches. You know, there's a few bits and pieces, a lot of cogs moving here. So keep your eyes peeled because there's going to be some developments in that front, which is why you got your plain box.
Plain box this time, better box next time.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the box.
No,
We're making it better.
Yeah, I'm making it better.
Yes, so it is a rosé. It's number 3, yellow label, wine 3. Once again, keep the questions coming in. Keep comments flowing. And say we can see the YouTube chat as well as Slido. But again, ask the question: what are you tasting on this one? This one.
Going back. Oh, go on.
I was just commenting on the colour of it.
Oh, it's very pale.
It is pale, isn't it? It's very pale. Strawberry. Come straight in.
Straight in with the strawberry, for sure. Going back to the wine cards, guys. I know, like the blind tasting is, you know, quite a snobby thing, isn't it? And I guess like we're trying to avoid that at all costs, the snobbery around wine. So, you know, we do want you to taste the wines blind, not for any snobby reason. As Dan said, it's just to sort of avoid prejudgments, because what we tend to find when we go out into the world and speak to people about wines is that they are constrained by sticking to what they know, because, you know, they're fearful of, you know, spending 10 quid on a nice bottle of wine and it ends up being absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
And that's fair, you know, fair enough. But because sort of wine comes with some sort of conceived ideas, you know, Chardonnay tastes like this, Sauvignon tastes like that, and I know what I like, you end up like trying new things without realizing that they could be right up your street, because wine is so varied. In fact, if you just tried one grape for the rest of your life, you could still have a very varied and enjoyable wine drinking experience, because they're all different and they all really come down to the place rather than the grape. The grape is kind of irrelevant, it's more about the area. So that's why we ask you to taste them blind, not for any snobby reason, just because we want you to give it a crack before you've made any decisions. Strawberry,
peach, pear drops. We've got some very learned
Spice.
people in.
I don't know what maracuja
It's a type of passion fruit,
no,
commonly known as passion fruit. Oh no, so it is
passion fruit.
It's just, yeah. We've got some very learned individuals out there that are using, you know, Aurora Borealis.
Ooh.
You know, like technical terms for. I know that was the Northern Lights, but you know, you know what I mean. Like Latin, it sounds like a flower, doesn't it? Oh, look at the gentle petal of the Aurora Borealis. Yeah, pear drops, spice, acidic, peach.
There is spice here.
There
for
is,
sure.
yeah, there is.
Like it. We love a pale rosé at the moment, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a sweet rosés or that kind of, you know, the gateway to wine that we all did far too many silly things as
Echo
students
Falls,
with. Yeah,
Julio Garin, Barefoot.
Yes, all of those. I just can't drink them. Like, they hurt my teeth. Like, you know that. I mean, I only drink diet drinks anyway. I can't drink full fat fizzy drinks. You know, the sugar in that just gets me. And it, you know, the darker ones tend to be sweeter, but that isn't the case. Is it blush? Blush doesn't. Well, blush isn't a thing. First off, is it?
No.
And you can't necessarily gauge colour and sweetness.
No, you can't. If it can vary, but it's also probably a safe place to be. So, to touch on the bigger branded, mass-produced sort of sweet rosés like your Barefoots and your Echo Falls, I mean, the volumes that these people do, they're like the Budweiser of wine. You know, massive scale wine production. Like, I've seen the figures on there, Echo Falls. It's insane. You know, firstly, when we're talking about sugar, we're not talking about, you know, the balance between acidity and sugar, which is done in the vineyard by, you know, guessing when to pick your grapes. We're talking about pouring a big old bag of sugar powder in, and that's why it puts your teeth on edge. It's what gives you a thick head the next day. You know, if you suffer with a terrible hangover after a particular bottle of wine, and you're like, what is it about that bottle of wine last night? Because I only had half of it and he had half of it and I am wasted the next day. It's mostly down to sugar, artificial sugar. So that's them. In terms of pale and dark rosés, well, the color from rosé comes from the skin, just like red wine, the color comes from the skin. So it's how much time we leave the skin of these red grapes in with the juice. The longer we leave it in, the more color it bleeds into it, and also more tannin, and that's why red wines are tannic, because the skin has the tannins in them. With rosé, we're talking hours, maybe days if you're lucky. With red wine, we're talking weeks, and so that's the difference. So what does that mean for the sweetness and the sugar? Well, it means nothing really. No, the amount of time that this wine has in its skins has got nothing to do with the sweetness of it. It will only affect the color. It's literally about color choice. So it's kind of a cosmetic thing, really. However, what you do tend to find is that, like I've said with the Riesling at the beginning, the Wiener Very, is that cool climate wines from colder countries have higher acidity, that refreshment factor, that dry factor that we like. Cool climate red grapes do have slightly thinner skins and will generally bleed less colour in the same amount of time. So you can make some assumptions to that, a little bit, but not a huge amount. Don't live and die by it. That's why thicker skin red grapes like Tempranillo or Grenache, they've got naturally thick skins. That's why they do really well in hottest parts of Spain. If you make rosé from them, if you give them 15 days in the tank compared to 15 days with, say, Pinot Grigio rosé, they'll impart a lot more colour and they'll make the wine darker. It won't mean it's sweet, but it will mean it's probably a little bit more fruity in that sort of direction. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Shez in the chat loved the La Vie en Rose last month, so
that is a goodie.
It's strong.
Is La Vie en Rose just Cinsault? I forget now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just Cinsault. Good French rosé right there. But yeah, I mean this one. Obviously, we're not in France.
We're not in France. No, not at all. Let me pop it on there.
Where the hell are we?
We are in Portugal for this one. There it is. Infante La Falésia. We have a connection to the winemakers here, to the guys that produce this. They're friends of ours, and we think it's fantastic. So we're in Portugal, a winemaking country that obviously we first associate with port. And the reality is that the rest of Portuguese winemaking hasn't really had much of a look in the outside world, thanks to port. Port really is a English monopoly that has been in there, taking up all the grapes from the growers to produce these big products, your Taylors and your Sandeman's and your Graham's, massive Goliath brands. That's sort of going through a changing phase at the moment. So Portugal, as a country, have kind of decided, we've had a bit enough of this. We've had enough of pushing all our grapes towards the port industry. We want to grow more table wine for ourselves and also for an international market. And so we're going to see a lot more Portuguese wine coming through, which is fantastic. It's a great thing. They're a fantastic winemaking country. Up in the north, you've got your Vinha Verdes. Fantastic. If you like that #1 white wine, you're going to love Vinha Verde. If you've not tried it, I encourage you to do so. We've got reds coming through. We may or may not have one coming up in a bit. And then right down in the south, we are now in Algarve for this one. Algarve as a region has had absolutely no look in whatsoever, thanks to the Douro Valley, which is where all the port growing happens in the sort of top centre of the country. Because it's been so popular in that area, the Algarve have not had a look in at all, but it's now coming through and getting some rave reviews for some really top quality wines. They've got 4 DOCs, which is like regions that have been acknowledged for really top quality, and I reckon they'll get more as we grow. This is what they call a Vinha Regional, so it's not from one of those top quality DOCs, but that doesn't mean we should disregard it. Some of the most that Vie en Rose, it doesn't come from a DOC, it comes from just a countrywide region, and it's fantastic. Really great quality. If you like a pale rosé, if you want something that's really easy drinking and refreshing, it's worth giving a go. The grape is Negra Mole, Portuguese native. So you won't see it anywhere else. Used a lot in Madeira winemaking, so Madeira wine, which comes from Portugal. It's a red grape, obviously, and yeah, I think it's great.
I think it's good in the sunshine. I mean, yeah, Algarve. I was struck when they said that because I've never seen a wine from the Algarve. I mean, clearly it exists, and it's becoming a thing. So. It's good, and this range Falésia, you can only buy it from us in the UK at the minute.
Absolutely,
we're working directly with the
buy it from us. Yeah,
with the winemaker. They're all individually labelled. It's a very small boutique operation.
Yeah, they are. I think they only do a few thousand bottles a year. They've said, and that is tiny, guys. It's super tiny. So that it's basically handcraft. It's about as handcrafted as you can get. Fantastic relationship with the winemaker. Interestingly, we've got sort of a cliffs and sort of ocean wind theme going on. Falésia means cliffs because, if you think about the Algarve, super hot. How is it going to grow, any white wine or rosé wine with a bit of acidity? And again, these vineyards are right on the cliffs overlooking the sea to get those sea breezes through to cool them down a bit so that they can maintain some acidity.
Yeah, and that's where some people would say there's a saltiness to it.
Some people do, yeah. For
I
sure.
don't pick that up, but I know people will say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're growing right on the cliff face, and salt is being blown off the ocean and it's ending up in the soil and in the air and stuff. I mean, there's probably something to it, but yeah, I mean, some wines I've tried, particularly like pick pools and stuff like that, that grow right on the saltwater lagoons in the south of France. I genuinely think you can taste it, but not always.
Yeah. Well, I'm a man who can't taste the difference between apples, so who knows? But all I know is I like that. I can see that one. I can see that one working. A couple of questions. Seth is 9 and wants to know how we became friends. Seth, I hope you're not smashing a whole bottle of wine on a Friday night. We have known each other from school. Chance encounter because we have alphabetically adjacent surnames, and we had a very old school teacher that sat everyone in class by their surnames.
We weren't much older than 9, actually, were we?
We weren't. Yeah. So yeah, you do your sums. We've been been in each other's lives for a long time, and now we're living the dream. Living the dream.
Is that what we call this?
Something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. Callum, good question. I like this because obviously you said about the skins and the juice and the colour and all that. So if you have a heavy red wine, but they don't leave the skins in, would it be clear but taste the same? Well, it would be white. The colour would be white.
It'd be clear, yeah, for sure. So all juice of any grape starts life clear. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I say it is clear. It's almost impossible to squeeze the juice out of a red grape without doing enough damage to the skin that some colour gets in. Yeah. Like, that would be mad. You'd have to have somebody breaking them open individually. But yes, the juice would be 100% clear. Yeah. It wouldn't taste. It wouldn't taste the same. So first of all, the red fruit flavours are coming from the skin contact for sure. That's why with white wines, you've got your apples and your citrus fruits and your pineapple and stuff like that. But with our red wines, we start talking about strawberry, plum, blackberries and stuff like that. That's all in the skins. And also the tannin of red wine. So we're going to talk lots about tannin when we hit the red wines in a sec. But that bitter, astringent feeling that sort of grips your gums. In the wine game, we say this wine has a lot of grip when we mean it's got tannins that sort of drying out the gums. That all comes from the skins as well, and obviously that's a massive part of red wine. Some of us like lots of it, some of us don't want any of it, but it forms a huge part. So I suppose really orange wine is a good example. Orange wine, if you haven't heard of it, is this new thing that's sort of very trendy. We've tried loads. We're not into it at all. But orange wine is basically what Callum is talking about. Getting the juice out of a red wine grape without doing any skin contact whatsoever. And what ends up is you get like this white wine that has got a little bit of bitter tannins, but no red fruit flavour. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an acquired taste. Yeah. I think the same people that really enjoy like sour beer and that kind of really, really kind of bizarre. Well, it's bizarre tasting in the sense of it's just not what you're used to. You pour it into a glass. I mean, and some of these things are orange as well, aren't they? Like the colour is crazy. Some of them, we were at a tasting a couple of months ago, and before she poured it in the glass, and before we could even move it, she said, "Don't judge it on its smell." I think that might have been because it was fresh. But
I don't know. I'm not into it. But that's basically what you're talking about, Callum, is breaking open a red grape and just taking out the juice. That's what orange wine is. So you still get a bit of colour because it's literally impossible to not get some. And you get some of the tannin as well, but you don't get any of the red fruitiness. So it's a bit odd.
I was just trying to think. We don't have any wines, or we don't have any grapes where they make a white wine and a red wine out of it. Even though you get like Grenache Blanc and Grenache Noir, it's not the same grape. It's the brother and sister. Yeah, they're brother
and sister grapes. But it was only a few months ago somebody told us about white Malbec, didn't they?
Yes.
I mean that must be an orange wine. That must be somebody that's taken Malbec and tried to squeeze the clear juice out.
The McNeils tried some orange wine and it reminded them of cider. I get that.
Yeah, like bitter, scrumpy cider.
Proper scrumpy cider,
like still cider, for sure. But yeah, so yeah, you can't. There isn't a red grape out there where you can enjoy the white wine as white wine and the red as red.
Yeah, because obviously a lot of people. Oh, what about Rioja? Rioja is not a grape. Rioja is the region. So white Rioja and red Rioja, two completely different blends of grapes, made in the same style and whatever else, but not grapes. But yeah, white Malbec actually. Yeah,
somebody told us about that.
Aldi were flogging it.
Well, oh okay.
Yeah, Aldi were doing a white Malbec.
I mean, I'm gonna go and look for it now because I'm curious.
Yeah.
It must be an orange wine.
Do you know what? I remember seeing it and it wasn't. Maybe there's like a filtering or something that they do. I don't know.
Or it's like Torrontés, which is a white Argentinian grape that doesn't get a look in because the Argentinians do so much Malbec and they're like rebranding it or something.
Is champagne made from a blend of red grapes?
It is, absolutely, yeah. Not all champagne is made from a blend of grapes. That's not true. Blanc de Blanc champagne is just made from Chardonnay. Blanc de Noir is just made from Pinot Noir, but 99% of the champagne is made from a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. And so yeah, in that sense, you're right in that it's a white wine that we're made from red wine grapes where we don't see any of the colour or anything like that.
And rosé, sparkling rosé. While we're talking about champagne, now tell me if they make any still rosés like this. But to make sparkling rosé, they literally just pour a bit of red wine into it.
Yeah, for sure. So they don't do any of the skin contact stuff. They don't say, okay, let's leave the Pinot Noir skins in a little bit longer to impart some colour, like I just described with that still rosé. They literally make champagne in the normal way, and they drop a little bit of red wine in, which seems mad for such a prestigious thing. It seems like they might be cheating or doing something naughty, but it's just the way they do it.
Are there any rosés that we?
I don't know. Possibly so.
That way?
Yeah, possibly so. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, good points. That you've caught me out there, Stu and Chris. Champagne is a white wine that's made from juice with red grapes, but slightly different.
Yeah, I guess the method probably might strip some of that any colour that comes out of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a two-part method. So first they make a really astringent, super acidic, undrinkable, still white wine. And the guys that are able to taste that and then predict what it's going to be like after bottle fermentation, which is what makes the fizz, I mean, what a job, because the wines are horrible at that stage, because they have to have super high acidity to cope with secondary fermentation in the bottle. And then, they get secondary fermentation in the bottle, which makes the fizz.
Very good, very good. Right, well, keep the questions coming. If you want to now move on to wine 4, that's the green label red, feel free. We're going to have a very short little segment, little gap, so if you do want to just have a little breather, now is the time. New little segment we tried last week. Is it
time for the news?
It's time for this month's wine news.
Goes on a bit, doesn't it?
It does go on a bit. It goes on a bit. Right, yes, welcome to this month's wine news.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So, because you can never get enough boozy Animal Kingdom stories, here's one about a Chinese man who was bitten by a serpent resting in a bottle of snake wine, which he made himself, by the way. He was about to extract a dose, reportedly to administer to his ill son.
Oh my God.
Though the snake had been soaked and sealed in a bottle for over a year, it reportedly came back to life. Now, apparently, it's not an uncommon occurrence, and snakes are commonly marinated for medical purposes. The man was treated at the hospital and later released. Snake wine.
Wow, that's scary.
Got some bite to it.
Ooh, there he goes.
There he goes.
Engadget, an online tech and products blog, reports the world's first molecular drinks printer that claims to be able to mix juice, iced coffee, wine, and cocktails. The countertop dispenser manufactured by Kana One uses a flavor cartridge and a touchscreen to customize the beverage of your choice. For example, adjusting the levels of alcohol, caffeine, sugar. Slated to launch in 2023, the first 10,000 orders will be $499, $799 afterwards. What a deal. So it prints out a drink.
Well, I would imagine it takes some kind of recipe and a mix, and a bit like mixing inks together. You know, like these things in Star Trek where they go, I'll have a chicken thing, and you ding. It must just like mix it together. I mean, based on a
I'm in.
chemical profile.
Put me down for one of the first 10,000.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, if that actually works, and just being able to, at the push of a button,
Have any drink.
have any drink. Who knows?
Who knows?
And then finally, an Ohio winery is duking it out with the estate of the late musician, formerly known or once known as Prince, over use of the phrase "Purple Rain" on one of its offerings. It sells a wine called Purple Rain Concord. Concord, I think, is the grape.
Yeah,
Concord. It's a 13% off dry, if anyone's interested. Prince's estate argues that the name, also one of Prince's signature songs, presents a likelihood of confusion.
Could get confused.
But the winery is countering, saying that it's well known that Prince had an aversion to alcohol, so there's no confusion with their product.
No confusion.
And it has been selling that product, Purple Rain, since 2015.
I mean, would you buy it?
Would I buy it? Possibly not. The other one is a proper sweet one, apparently. I had a quick look on their website before. It's...
Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go.
See if we can get some in. Well, there you go. That was this month's wine news.
Lovely.
Thank you. Right. So there you go. That's a nice little segue.
Too close.
Little gap. Too close.
Should we do some reds?
Yeah, we can do some reds. Cheryl's just asked, if you buy the tasting kits from Spain, are they accompanied by tasting videos on YouTube?
Absolutely, Cheryl.
Absolutely.
Pre-recorded, you will see our fine faces talking you through all of the Spanish wines, and that goes for all of the kits. Absolutely. We've spent a lot of time in these stalls getting that video content together.
So yes, we've launched a range of tasting kits, as you'll see. So if you go to the website, I think it's like our first banner image, tasting kits. You get the same box that you've been delivered for this event. We do Spanish, Italian, cheese and wine, French. We've just launched our Sauvignon and Malbec as well. You want to try a range of Sauvignons or Malbecs and wines that you would also
very similar.
we do those.
Give them a go.
Those have been very popular. And well, breaking news, given that we're on the news segment, there is an English one coming very soon.
English wine coming soon, really good English winery. We're going to do 6 wines, all from the same English winery. We were blown away. They hosted us. It was very, very nice. But we were dubious, weren't we? Because the pricing is great. So we were like, oh God, maybe it's not going to be very good. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, really interesting business actually. Like, there's a whole host of reasons why they could price it the way they price it. And the wine was just
really good.
Great. So there is a English wine kit coming very, very soon. You heard it here first. Keep your eyes peeled. We will email her out about it.
The videos for our tasting kits, like per wine, they're like 2 or 3 minutes. So obviously, unless you're an absolute machine, you'd want to like watch the video, hit pause, have a few swigs, enjoy yourself, and then it moves on to the next video. So it's not like this. It's not like 2 hours long or something.
Some of the people on these tastings could
probably
do a wine in 14 minutes.
Yeah, 14 minutes for a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
probably. Cheryl probably could, to be fair.
There you go. But yes, there you go, Cheryl. That's the information there. Right, reds, sorry. Number 4, so it's wine 4, green label. Pour this out. Now, can I use the word thin when talking about the
You can use the word thin if you'd like. You can use any word you want.
Yeah, it looks thin, this. It does look thin.
For sure.
I know what this is, obviously, and I've had it a number of times. I bloody love this wine.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to launch the poll first off to see what kind of red wines people are going for. But yeah, tuck in, let us know.
Oh, what things you normally go for, not what you're tasting.
I've launched the wrong one. Well, yeah, go with what you taste on this one, and then we'll ask the grape in a minute. We'll ask which grape you go for. Oh no,
it says what grape.
Oh man, I pressed the wrong one. Sorry, ignore that poll. Right, what are you tasting? Here you go. What are you tasting here for wine 4, green label? Wine 4. What things are you tasting?
So yeah, whilst you guys are throwing up your flavors,
someone's typing.
Thin. Dan says.
Thin. Yeah, I'm tasting.
Yeah, so again, we've sort of accidentally had a bit of a common thread through this evening, which is nice. We don't put that much thought into this. Thin, yeah. Again, we're back down to skin thickness, and we're back down to climate. So thinner skinned grapes can cope better in cool climate regions. They don't need the protection from the sun. So thinner skinned red grapes will tend to do better in cooler climates. And if you move into the hotter climates, the hotter parts of the winemaking world, the skins will get thicker to cope with the blistering sun, so that basically the grapes don't get blistered and overripe. What does that mean for the wine? Well, yeah, it means less weight and less body. When we talk about red wines, we're often talking about full-bodied, light-bodied, medium-bodied. Well, that doesn't just come down to skin. Skin is obviously, we've talked about tannin, and tannin does provide body. So more largely tannined wines are more full-bodied, but there are other things as well. Alcohol provides body for a wine. So naturally, those wines that can do well in hotter countries can get more ripe. They can create more sugar, which creates more alcohol. So more alcohol in a wine tends to make it more full-bodied as well. Cooler climate wines, lower in alcohol, less sugar, more light-bodied. And then the last thing, the thing we've already been talking about, it's still relevant for reds, is acidity. There's still acidity in these red grapes, just like the white grapes. Sure, they get more sun, the acidity goes down more, and we get more fruity flavors, and we'll talk about fruit in red wine in a sec. But acidity makes a wine taste lighter, as we know from number 1, and less acidity, the wine tastes fuller. So we're starting off with a lighter red wine from a cooler climate, and it's got thinner skins, it's got higher acidity, and it's got lower alcohol.
Have you seen the percentage of this?
Oh no, it's not. I
was going to ask a question on this, because that rocked my world when I saw the percentage on it.
Yeah, this is
not like when you get this grape in a lot of places, it's normally a 12.
Yeah, absolutely. This is about the peripheral as where it can be. So I've said all of that. Dan's absolutely right. This grape this particular wine has been grown in about the warmest that it can be. Yeah. But for the skin, the alcohol, and the tannin, we are in light wine territory. Well, what does that mean? Dan likes a light red wine. Why? Because that means he can put 2 bottles away instead of 1.
Oh yeah. Yes. Where are we? Let's get this bit out of the way.
Cherry, blackberry,
we've got a lot of light fruit, honey, or licorice, vanilla, pepper, wine. Wine has appeared again. Definitely get some wine.
Yeah. Lots going on in there for sure, which is good, because generally the more that you guys come up with, the better the wine, because it's not just a neutral single flavored wine. There's lots of more complicated going on. But yes, great. A light, mild red wine. Absolutely, Dave. So we're in Romania again, back at the same winemaker, Creme Recas. Their other label that we absolutely love is Solvari. This is Solvari. There it is, the Reserve Pinot Noir. That's it. Yeah. What does Reserve mean? It basically means they've kept their best grapes behind, so the ones that did particularly well. What do best grapes mean? Well, it generally means the ones that were able to ripen the most to get the most sugar, so they convert into more alcohol without sort of affecting the acidity, so that the acidity is still there. Basically the ones that have just coped the best with the climate. That's probably why we've got a decent percentage, as Dan said, 13.5. It's 13.5. I got it wrong on the thing. It's 13.5% on there. So yeah, these grapes have done particularly well this year, and so they put them in their reserve wine, because they do have other Pinot Noirs, the Creme Recas, the Umbrella Pinot Noir, which is fantastic. They'll also put a bit of oak aging in this. I forget how much. I don't know if it says. It'll be about 6 months top, 6 months in oak. And that's where we get those, like the vanilla flavors that somebody said, the honey, the spice, and that sort of thing. That's wood. So thyme in oak.
It's got wood.
It's got wood. Thyme in oak does 2 things. It smooths out tannins. Well, this is a low tannin wine anyway, so the oak probably wasn't introduced for that. But it will have lowered the tannins even more, making it super silky smooth and velvety, because it's those biting tannins that sort of are the opposite of that. So it's made it super smooth and silky. But they've added flavour as well. They've added the
unreal, that one.
It is ridiculously drinkable.
Yeah, I think we started the whites with a ridiculously drinkable white, and we've gone in on the reds here. This is
from the same people.
This is a summer red. It's not too heavy when it's warm. You probably could even chill it a little bit if you wanted to. Yeah,
for sure.
I really like Pinot Noir. I'll drink it from anywhere. But yeah, when I drank this, I thought, oh, this is nice. Then I read the label and was like, wow, 13.5.
Yeah,
it's a big jump from 12 to 13.5. So yeah. I was
a bit
pretty down.
I've had a few chilled Pinot Noirs in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I just thought I want red wine tonight because of maybe what we were having for dinner or something like that, or I just fancied red wine flavors. But I thought, come on, look at it out there. I can't drink room temperature red wine in this climate. So I went for the chill. I haven't done it in a while actually. Enjoyed it a lot.
We did the Fumato last month with slight chill.
We did, didn't we? Yeah.
I think that was fairly well received as well.
Yeah. What did I have at home? I can't remember now, but a few that I chilled first, and I love it. Nice. I love a bit of chilled red.
Nice. Callum, can you tell which grapes are the best just by looking at them? Well, obviously there's an element of visual, but I think it's also
they taste them.
They taste.
Yeah,
they actually eat the grapes.
Yeah, yeah.
There's also the fact that these people kind of have growing soil in their veins, so we'll just know like that particular patch of the field had this, that, and the sun was on it.
Yeah, it's things like what part of the year the buds came out at the beginning of the year, vines flower, and like it's really critical that those flowers aren't killed by frost. So if we have spring frosts, that could decimate a crop and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of signals. I guess like I know nothing about farming, but any form of agriculture, I'm sure they know. Early in the year when they're harvesting corn, I'm sure they know what the good signs are and what the bad signs are. So yeah, it's all sorts of signals throughout the year that will say whether the grapes have been good. The aim of the game with grapes is actually to get them from tiny little pips that have got no fruit to large, swelled up, ripe fruits in the longest and slowest period of time possible. So the longer it takes and the slower that happens, generally the better and then more easy drinking and the less tannic the wine will be. And so the aim of the game is to get them going as early as possible, but not too early that they get hit by those frosts, and also leave them as late as possible, but not too late that they get hit by rain. And that's the big one. So if you look at the harvesting season for the Northern Hemisphere, same as us, September, October, they're looking at harvesting. They want to leave the grapes out to get as much September sun and maybe October sun as possible. But if it rains, bad times, because the grapes literally suck up the water and become watered down. And if it hails, which it does in lots of European countries at that time of year, the hail will like smash through the grapes and allow rots and molds to get in, and then you're in real big trouble. So it's like a gambling act that they've got to say, right, we want to leave it out there as long as possible, but as soon as we smell rain, get out there and get them picked. And it's generally like that. They're like picking up the phone and like, we need all hands to the deck right now to harvest because it's going to rain tomorrow, they said. And they just rush out there and get them in. But it's about keeping them out there as long as possible.
Before we move on to the next one, I think it's worth pointing out, we know, because we know this winemaker, what Reserva means. But it only actually physically means something in like 2 countries.
Well, only in Spain, but Chile are starting to adopt the same rules. So yeah, reserve or reserva has no lawful meaning. It's not protected anywhere. There's no rules or regulations. So just bear in mind that the word reserva can be slapped on any bottle, anywhere, apart from in Spain, where they have super strict rules, where reserva doesn't mean anything about quality. They do save the best grapes, they say, for this. But it's about oak time, so reserva means that it's had 12 to 18 months in an oak barrel. So if you like your wines super woody, reserva in Spain, in Rioja particularly, is what you're looking for. Chile are about to sort of adopt, they generally do the same rules, but they're about to make it law. No other country has a law around the word reserva. So yeah, take it with a pinch of salt in lots of instances. Yeah.
James, Becky, Judy and Steve have just moved to a house with some pretty well-established grapevines. How do they tell what kind of grape they are? DNA tested.
Yeah, I mean,
and ultimately that's why drinking a bottle of Pinot Noir or Sauvignon, like what's called a single varietal, is actually a fairly modern thing.
Yes.
Because whilst obviously all these different types of grapes have existed for thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever, knowing what you've got in the field,
it's fairly recent,
and that's why like field blends. We sell a lot of field blends and a lot of blended wines. It's like that is authentic winemaking, and it's like because you get the best of a lot of different things. Single varietals is pretty new because it's genetic tested. Ultimately, that's
since the 80s when DNA testing came in, we've discovered all sorts of things. For example, what we thought was tons of Chilean Merlot was actually Carmenere and various other bits and bobs. So it is DNA testing. I mean, if they're growing in your house, I don't know how well things are going for you guys, but if they're like the type of vines that grow up a pergola or an over your trellising or something like that, they're probably not going to produce you the right type of grape for making wine. They won't have enough acidity in them and stuff like that. They've got to be the right breed, Vitis vinifera, which is this particular breed of that you either see growing in rows of trellis, or there's bush vines that are like little shrubs.
They're quite short and stubby, aren't they?
Wine
vines.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's like a climbing grapevine, you probably could have a stab. I mean, you can make wine from any fruit, so you could have a stab at it. But as to what type it is,
I'll tell you where you can get these random kits as well. The Range. The Range have like a homebrew
wine-making kits. Yeah.
Well, no, they're not so much wine-making.
Oh, homebrew section.
But they have a homebrew section where you can get the fermenting tubs.
Give it a
and
go.
all the other stuff. Wine,
see what happens.
They make wine in demijohns, don't they? Because you can't have any air in it. Where beer can have air.
Yeah.
But you need to be airtight. So a demijohn with a rubber plunger, get rid of all the air.
Give it a go. See what happens.
I would.
You need a lot of grapes for a bottle of wine, more than you think.
Yeah.
So
I remember when we looked at it. Someone asked a question, and it was about 5,000 and a bit grapes.
Yeah.
Because wine grapes are a lot smaller.
Yes, they are.
Than grapes that you buy in a
punnet.
In a punnet to eat. They're more like, the little circular,
the
marbly sized ones. He's going back in on this one. It's good, isn't it? It's good. It's good. Right. So there you go. James, Becky, Judy, and Steve. Genetic testing. And I don't think you could just get yourself one of those 23andMe and just send it off. I think you'd probably have to, go to somewhere legit for agricultural DNA. Right. Where are we? Oh, we're doing one for time.
You can ask them what red wines they normally drink.
I can ask you that now, can't I? I'm going to ask you what your favourite type of red, or what you usually go to when it comes to reds. So, what's your favourite grape or your type when it comes to reds? Obviously, we did this with white. We've got a few interesting ones. We've got the Chablis. We got that Piemonte one, whatever that one
was.
Albarino. We've got Albarino. Tempranillo.
Piers, what was it? Piers Porter.
Piers Porter, Pies Porter. Malbec, Tempranillo. Yeah, all the usual suspects there. We've got a lot of people typing right now as well. Merlot. Middle of the road Merlot.
Yep. Field blends.
Yes.
Hello.
We've got a field blend champion. Big love for field blends.
Is that participants typing? Is that new?
That's new. Yeah, nice little feature, that.
Rioja, Tempranillo. So Rioja is a region, as we've said, tiny little part of Spain, which is obviously the most famous part of Spain for winemaking. Most red Rioja, or almost all red Rioja, is made from Tempranillo. That's the grape. It's generally a blend though, so it'll be Tempranillo and Garnacha, or Graziano, so 3 red grapes that go blended into it. If it's white Rioja, then it will be Viura is the white grape, which is also called Macabeo in the rest of Spain. It's what Cava is made from. And then there's Tempranillo Blanco as well. There's a white version of Tempranillo that goes into white Rioja.
Pinot Noir, Carmenere, Cabernet, Shiraz, Jammy. We've got jam
Jammy.
in.
We love a bit of Jammy.
Monastrell.
Love Monastrell.
We've got some real good wine drinkers in tonight. I like that.
Falling behind, give me a...
I think someone may have meant to put that in the Q&A, possibly. I'm not sure.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Jammy. Jammy is super popular at the moment. We hear a lot of people say Jammy to us. What do we mean by Jammy? Well, there's obviously big brands out there. I think there's Jammy Rue, isn't there? There's Jam Shed.
Jammy Rue, Jam Shed.
I mean, 19 Crimes is certainly a jammy red wine. Super popular at the moment. What is jammy? Well, it's super ripe, so it's hot country. Grapes like Grenache, like Zinfandel, and I'm talking red wine Zinfandel, not rosé Zinfandel, that can take tons of sun. It's generally super low tannin as well. But what you've got to be careful of, we're back in the same territory as when we were chatting about rosés, those big mass-produced jammy reds, that they're not compensating with added sugar, because that's where the thick head comes from. There are fantastic jammy red wines out there. We haven't got anything super jammy tonight, to be fair. But there are fantastic jammy red wines out there that don't need a bag of sugar to go in them and give you a bad head.
Or someone's dropped Passamento.
Passamento, and that is the answer to that. So Passamento is an Italian winemaking method. The most famous Passamento wines in the world are Amarone, so Amarone del Valpolicella. It's a blend of 3 different grapes, but it's the Passamento method which makes it so delicious. And that's where they take the grapes, they either pick them and put them in crates or on mats, or they even leave them on the vine and they just snap the stalk so that the grape no longer has access to water, to roots, and they leave it in the sun to dry. So either on the bush or in a mat or whatever, and they leave them to dry out like raisins, and they lose about 40% of their water content and become super concentrated with fruit and sugar, and then they start the winemaking process. It means lower yields, which is why particularly like Amarone is a bit more expensive, but you get that jammy concentration of fruit. And actually, Amarone were kind of the pioneers, but within the Amarone regions in north of Italy, we've got the Nera Passo, which is from the just same neck of the woods, very, very affordable. And Sicily is following in the footsteps of its mainland brother and are doing Passamento wine. So we've got the U Passamento on the site. These guys are using the Passamento method to create these amazing jammy wines, but in a natural way.
So there's a Passamento,
Ripasso, and Passamento.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. One of them, is it the difference between on the bush,
yes,
on a mat?
Ripasso is generally only associated with sweet dessert wines. So if you see Ripasso, be aware that it's probably not a jammy red. It might be a like dessert pudding wine, but a Passamento and Passamento are still dry red wines, but with that jammy flavour.
Nice, like that. Right, so wine 5 now. So green label, wine 5, dark.
It is dark, isn't it?
Very dark.
This is one of those situations where, again, I'm not sure if I've done the order right.
Well,
ABV-wise, same.
Well, there's actually 0.11%
yeah, because these guys are a bit extra.
Them ones are a bit
extra. Those ones are a bit extra, yeah. That's still the one before, isn't it? Have you had some?
No, I've just poured some of this. Yeah. Look at the colour of that. I
wasn't sure.
Take a...
This is, I mean, we're talking about jammy. This smells a bit jammy. You know, it's a bit concentrated, a bit porty. A bit porty in flavour. That's a good way of, jammy. It's quite porty in flavour.
Not a fan of wine 5, says Dave.
Dear.
Dave, oh dear. I'm trying to think what red wines Dave normally buys to know if it's...
Not a fan. Come on, Dave.
I mean, it's got some weight to it, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's a big.
Do you want to put up what you're tasting?
I will. Yeah, I will do that. What are you tasting? Here we go. Kind of things.
Let us know.
Let us know.
Quite a jump. Not quite a jump. No. Well, yeah, I think so. You know, we've started quite light and easy drinking. The next two are fairly robust. They're pretty big. Okay, the ABV hasn't jumped that much, but quite a jump in terms of the bulk of the wine.
Sam's done it again, everyone. We've got 3 fairly heavy-hitting reds to close everyone off for a Friday evening. That happens a lot.
Yes,
it does.
I don't like to hang around in the light red wine territory.
Yeah, but maybe I need to pick red for in future because you just I know you prefer the bigger boys, the big chunky lads.
Yeah,
like a bit of chunk, don't you?
Monastrell. Somebody who said Monastrell, fantastic. If you haven't tried Monastrell, it's called Mourvedre in France. It comes from the Côte d'Or, but Monastrell from the south of Spain in particular. If you like those big chunky reds, it is excellent. Purple flavours. I know that sounds weird. What's things that taste purple? I don't know. Blueberries, blackberries, Parma violets, purpley flavours.
Pepper, blueberry, licorice,
quite similar.
plum,
Quite similar to Malbec in those purpley flavours. It looks purple. It almost tastes purple, but it's big. It's big. It's chunky. But that's not what we're drinking now. What are we saying? Licorice. Yeah, there's definitely licorice and
blueberry,
spice.
oak, plum, cherry, pepper. Yeah, we got it all.
I actually can't remember if this is oaked, but my instincts tell me it's not.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
It's not. I think that's why we may get some comments about it being sharp because it's an example of tannin.
Yeah, for sure. We've got. Well, I was going to say we've got 2 grape varieties here. This is a blend, 2 grape varieties that are big boys in the tannin world, but actually the third one is also not far behind. We've got 2 big high tannin grapes in this blend, for sure. 2 big players. So yeah, maybe that's not for everybody. It's not for everyone.
Right, let's just go over what it is. Where we're
okay.
At. Yeah.
1 second, I'll have a splash more whilst we discuss.
Go on.
So we're back in Portugal. We're back with the guys at Falésia. Not that one. No, not that one. Oh, have you forgot to upload it?
No.
There it is.
It's in the wrong order.
Oh dear.
Okay.
So here we are. We've got Falésia. Again, this is their Tinto, the red to the rosé. We've got the white as well. We'll feature that soon. Fantastic wine. But this is their red blend. I've forgotten the percentages. They did email me the percentages, and I've forgotten. it's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, it was like 68,
Yeah,
70%.
It's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, bit of Syrah, bit of Touriga Nacional. So Cabernet Sauvignon, most of us have probably heard of that. It's the Bordeaux red grape. So all Bordeaux is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. That's a fact, or red Bordeaux anyway, sorry. It's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. Depending whether you're on the left bank or the right bank in Bordeaux is whether or not you get more Cab or more Merlot, but that's for another day. Cabernet Sauvignon, big, robust red grape. We've got Syrah, which is the real or original name for Shiraz. Shiraz is sort of just the New World name, which the Australians coined. But we've got Shiraz, which comes from the Côte d'Aron. And we've got Touriga Nacional, the red grape of Portugal. So it's the port grape, so pretty much all port starts with Touriga Nacional. Port is a blend as well, actually. They throw other bits and bobs in. But Touriga Nacional, very much the red grape of Portugal and of port making. Cabernet and Touriga in particular, high tannin, thick-skinned, very thick-skinned grapes. They can tolerate the heat and high bitter tannins. We've talked about oak and about how that can smooth it out. Got no oak here, so they are laid a little bit bare. But that slow growing process, again, can ease. We talked about that in detail, didn't we, with the Romanian red wine, how elongating the ripening process through the season will lower the tannins. And we're down in the Algarve, and again, we've got those winds coming in off the sea to cool these grapes down. I mean, it's not a beast. I mean, it's chunky, but it's not a beast.
No, Andrew in chat here said wine 5 is very port-like, and he thinks he likes it. The more I drink it, the more I like it, and the more I agree, it is a bit port-like. It has got that vibe. I'm not sure if we've got Chris and Roger on this month. At some point you will be watching this, Chris and Roger, because they subscribe to Drop We Buy, so they will be drinking them at some point. They've bought the ports from us, I think. So they're obviously port drinkers. I'd be interested to see their opinions.
It's porty for sure.
It's porty.
It's got the grape of port in it, so that's going to help. But really, when we say porty, we're sort of talking a bit like jammy, and that brings us on to our red wine fruit scale. So we talked about with white wine how we start off sort of appley and citrusy, and then we move into melons and stone fruits and peaches, and then we move on to the pineapples and stuff like that. With red, there's a similar thing. In the cooler climates, like Pinot Noir, maybe not from this one from Romania, but say a Pinot Noir from a cooler part of Chile or from Germany, Spätburgunder from Germany, we're tart red fruit flavors, cranberry or a sharp raspberry, that sort of thing. That's because of the acidity. And then as we move into the warmer climates, we go into sort of more plummy type fruits. Then we go warmer still, we're like blackberry and blueberry and that sort of thing. And then when we get into the hotter places, and I think we're here with this, and we start getting those porty, jammy flavors, not only is it dark fruit flavor, but it's cooked dark fruit flavor. It's jam, it's cooked plum crumble or blackberry crumble, that thing that happens to fruit when you cook it. That flavor sort of happens when those grapes have had a bit of cooking time in the sun. And so, yeah, if you are into that cooked, porty, jammy situation, then it's the hot countries. It's the hot countries you've got to go for.
The hot parts of those.
The hot parts of those hot countries. Puglia in Italy, particularly good. Yeah. The birthplace of Primitivo, which is Zinfandel from California.
If you like California Zinfandel, the red, not the rosé. If you like California Zinfandel, get yourself some Puglian Primitivo. You'll pay 30-40% less per bottle, and it is
very, very nice.
Got a lovely one, Electric Bee Primitivo, and
the Bella Modellas there.
Bella Modella we've got as well. God, they're great. They're really nice. Nice. If you're into the jammy, give those a go. And like Sam said, the Sicilian Passamento, that's another cracker of a jam fest. Right.
Sure.
Okay, that was Red 5. So get that done. That's a grower. That's definitely a grower. Give that a couple of drinks. I think
I'd love to know what Bordeaux lovers think of it, because it's got a Bordeaux blend feel to it. The Cabernet leading the way, a couple of other grapes backing it up. If you're a Bordeaux fan, love to know what you think of that, because I think it's very much Bordeaux territory. If you're into your clarets, if you're into your Medocs, that's very similar.
We didn't get any we've had Medocs on before. Remember when we got asked, what's your favourite? I like a nice Fort Medoc on one of our. What do you normally buy? Didn't come back.
Maybe it wasn't for them.
Maybe.
Medoc actually, I think, is the Merlot side of the river, so it wouldn't be relevant actually. There we go. Hey, who cares about
Exactly. Who
Bordeaux?
cares? Because it's now time for red wine 6. So number 6 on your pouch, green label, should be the last one. So get that poured out. This is lovely. I really like this one. It's a cracker.
It is a good wine.
Put it on the map.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Put it on the map. Come on.
There we go.
Yeah. Keep your questions flying in. We will answer as many of them as we can before we do finish up. Going to ask you what you're tasting, so that's going back onto Slido now. Not as dark.
Not as dark. Do you know what I was about to say? This wine is not as weighty, so actually in that sense I got them the wrong way round, but it delivers more flavour.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on.
Yeah,
here.
it does deliver more flavour. So they've kept it lighter. I'm not going to say light because it's definitely not light, but they've kept it lighter but delivered more flavour. They've done a pretty great job at that, actually.
Give yourself a couple of sips, grab some snacks, and then get involved in number 6 because this is a good wine.
It is indeed. It is indeed. This is
Pepper. Pepper was the first one that came in.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nailed it with the pepper when we talk about the grapes that are in there. Blackcurrant for sure. This is a blend, but I won't say what it is. We'll let people stick some bits up first. This is a tried and tested way of blending red wine. We talked earlier about field blends and about the fact that single varietals, I'm just drinking Sauvignon or I'm just drinking Merlot is actually a fairly modern concept. Blending is the roots of winemaking. Bordeaux is a blend, Rioja is a blend, and Côte de Rhône, Châteauneuf-du-Pape, they are all blends. Blending is tried and tested way of making successful red wine. This is a blend, a fantastic example of a classic blend. And it's because you can take the components of different grapes. This grape is particularly spicy, this grape is particularly fruity, this grape has got the guts and the tannin and the body and the weight, and you can combine them to make a wine that's better than the sum of its parts, really. And so in this world we live in now of I like Merlot and I like Sauvignon and I only like a particular country and stuff like that, we're really doing ourselves a disservice because if you want wine that has been crafted to be really, really tasty, but also really, really easy to drink and you can drink loads of it and enjoy it, it's all about the blends. Don't knock a blend.
It's just like food, isn't it? It's a recipe.
Yeah,
It's a recipe.
absolutely. It's a recipe.
Imagine if I was just like, what are you having for dinner? Do you know what? I've got a lovely white rice. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Oh, just got, just going to eat.
Just rice.
Just rice.
Pure
It's
rice.
one rice. Yeah. It's why you add different things in.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing too well for myself. I've got a spice drawer.
Oh, hello.
Next to the oven.
Just put it in a drawer.
You know what I mean? One of those little skinny things. It was mainly because you actually can't embed a cooker without something next to it now. It's building next. Welcome, man. But yeah, little spice drawer. Just throw it in, mix it up. Get a little bit of this, bit of that.
That's what blending's all about.
That is what blending. Yeah. And I am all for it with this wine. Cinnamon has just come in.
Cinnamon for sure. So
pineapple. This
wine is a Rhône blend. I'll say where it's from in a minute. It's not from the Côte de Rhône. It's not French. It's not Côte de Rhône. But this is a Rhône blend. It's an example of the French Côte de Rhône grapes being blended together. I was lucky enough to. Oh, went black. I was lucky enough to spend some time in the Côte de Rhône, and whilst I was there in Kéran, one of the Cru villages in Côte de Rhône, they allowed the guests to blend their own wines. So they gave us like a thing of Shiraz and a thing of Grenache and a thing of Mourvedre, and they were like, blend your own wine. So you can pour a bit in, and taste it and see what you think. And they let us take a bottle home of our wine. Now, in France, in the Côte de Rhône, they actually have laws about a Côte de Rhône blend. It has to be by law 50% Grenache, and then you can do what you want with the rest, with the Shiraz and the Merlot or the Cinsault and stuff like that. I'm a massive Monastrell fan, Mourvedre fan, as we were talking about earlier. Mourvedre is a Côte de Rhône grape variety, so I went bang, 50% Mourvedre. And then I think I put in 20% Grenache, which is essentially against the law. But I thought, it's not like don't steal. And put some other things.
Thou shalt not add more than 30%.
I blended the wine and I presented it to the chap, I forget his name, French guy. and
Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre, let's say. Can we get cancelled
We
for that?
might get cancelled.
Yeah, I think we could get
cancelled.
cancelled. Yeah. Presented to the guy. He tasted it and looked at me like, "Oh, interesting. Tell me what you've done, Sam." And I told him what I'd done, and he looked at me like I'd spat in his grandma's face.
Nice.
Yeah.
You insulted everything about it.
Everything he
That
stood
made it,
for
yeah.
by putting 50% Mourvedre into it. Everything he stood for, I'd spat in his face. Yeah, it was awkward.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're talking Côte de Rhône blend, but we are in South Africa again.
Yeah.
The same guys as the Chenin, Post Tree. This is a classic Rhône blend, as I said. Shiraz, massive Côte de Rhône grape, 50%. Cinsault, another grape that you find in the Côte de Rhône, 39%. And Mourvedre, my favourite, at 10%. Grenache is the other one, but we don't have that here, but it's the other Côte de Rhône grape that I was talking about. Rhône blends are super popular in South Africa. They happen a lot, mostly because the Côte de Rhône is a pretty dry and arid part of France, and all of these grapes are what we call bush vines. So we were talking about the guys that had grapes growing in their garden earlier, and we were saying, well, no, climbing vines aren't quite the same. Bush vine, there's two types of vines that you can grow drinking grapes on. You've got the standard trellised vines that we're sort of used to seeing, in long rows. But then you've got these bush vines, which are little shrubs, little bushes that grow low to the ground. They do really, really well in hot countries. They hug the ground and they stay cool, and they've got tons of foliage which protect them from the sun. All of those grapes are bush vines and do really, really well in the heat. So they've translated over into South Africa and had a huge amount of success over in South Africa as a result. So Côte de Rhône blends are pretty common in South Africa. What this blend is missing, which is definitely worth exploring, we've got another South African red, which is a blend that's worth looking at, is Pinotage. Pinotage, the signature red grape of South Africa. You don't get it in the Côte de Rhône. They made it themselves at Stellenbosch University by blending together Pinot Noir and Cinsault, because Cinsault used to be called Hermitage, and so therefore Pinot Noir, Hermitage, Pinotage. So Pinotage is the South African sort of signature red grape. You often see that thrown in with a Côte de Rhône blend, and we do have the Bonfire Hill red from South Africa. Fantastic. The South Africans do really, really well. What you got to get in the mind here is what we've got here for $9.99 is the same stuff they put in Chateauneuf de Pape or Kéran or Séguret. These big cru villages, where the grapes are super ripe and lush and lovely in the south of France, and they go into these expensive villages, get a name slapped on them, and then they're £30 a bottle. You've got the same stuff going into this for a fraction of the price. So if you enjoy a Côte de Rhône, if you enjoy a Chateauneuf de Pape, try these wines, and they're going to be right up your street.
Yeah, and it's obviously this one. Most of those Côte de Rhône ones are going to be kind of predominantly Grenache, as you said. And they're referred to on labels as GSM, GSM wines, and you can see it on labels. I saw it in Albi. You look at GSM.
Yeah,
so
that's
you're
a
getting
Rhône blend.
Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre.
Yeah.
You can buy GSM all over the world. This one obviously is forward with Shiraz, and actually you can get a lot of Australian SGMs, can't you?
Yeah, where the Shiraz comes first.
They call it SGM
because Shiraz is more popular in Australia. Yeah.
But they're, you're in the same ballpark for that kind of experience. I just did a little double check. Chris and Michelle, what's the other 1%? Doesn't actually tell you. I've gone on to the winemaker's website. 39% Cinsault, 10% Mourvedre, and 50% Shiraz. So there's 1% mystery.
Maybe there's 1% missing from the bottle.
It's also 14.11% alcohol.
Very weird, these guys.
So maybe that extra 1% is just.
I don't think statistics are their
pure,
thing.
No. I mean, there's a whole reason for that 14.11, isn't there? And it's all to do with import tax and duty, which is changing next year, which is going to become an absolute minefield of a headache. And if you are into your bigger percentage, bolshy red wines, they're going to become more expensive because we're getting a sliding scale based on alcohol. But you start seeing weird percentages in this region when you're 14 and up, because it does come down to tax. So yeah, maybe that 1% is pure unadulterated alcohol, which gives you the extra 0.11% alcohol.
But yeah, South Africa, fantastic country for red wines. Check out Pinotage, check out the Côte d'Rône blends, check out the two combined together, and you get just great value for money, which all comes down to land cost mostly. You get great value for money on these wines. So if you're into that, what the Côte d'Rône does really well, I think, and Côte d'Rône blends like this from South Africa or from Australia or something like that, is those wines, like I say, they come together to form something better than the sum of the parts. But there's some trickery to Côte d'Rône. They are big wines, they are high percentages, but they're just so drinkable. You can put a lot away.
I remember I don't remember a lot of it, and that's one of the reasons why I remember it. I was at a wedding for someone who clearly was doing all right for themselves, and their table wine was a Lirac, which is a village like a Chateauneuf du Pape, but and God, I put a lot of it away, and I bet that was a 13.5, 14er.
Yeah, big, full flavoured wines, but they're just very, very drinkable.
Get it in M&S as well, Lirac. But yeah, it's dangerous. Some of those blends.
Yeah, I think if I had to live off one particular blend for the rest of my days, it would be a Rhone blend. Forget your Bordeaux, forget your Rioja.
Yeah. I do like a Rioja. But yeah, I mean, but when you say Rhone blend, can you try Rhone blend from anywhere in the world?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, of course, yeah, of course it is, because different experience every time. But yeah, if you've got any questions, wine or otherwise, get in touch. Going to launch the last little poll now. Wine of the night. I'm pretty confident.
You know where this is going?
It's going to be 1 or 4. And that's going to split the red and the white drinkers apart. But I'm confident.
Wine of the night, guys.
We're looking at wine number 1 coming in here. It's... We came out the gates very strong. Oh, number 6. Number 6, unexpectedly there. I mean, it's a great wine. It is a great wine.
1 back in the lead.
Yeah.
I knew that wine 1 was going to be good before we even took delivery of it, because these guys are so good. It's worth, if you've not heard us talk about Creme Rakas in Romania before, it's an English chap and his Romanian wife. They moved out there. The industry was non-existent. They built this winery. It's now state of the art. It's massive. They're not like some mom and pop operation. There's nothing rustic about it. They're at cutting edge of winemaking, state of the art, lots and lots of money. They import all over the world. So we're not going to lie to you and say this is artisan winemaking, but it is so good. They just understand how to make really drinkable wines. And the Sauvignon everybody loves. Yeah. The Pinot Grigio Rosé everybody loves, which incidentally has changed. So the Pinot Grigio Rosé is now Pinot Noir Rosé, so they've changed to Pinot Noir.
Had a bad crop of Pinot Grigio. Speaking to them, bad crop of Pinot Grigio, bumper crop of Pinot Noir.
So they've had to move. We were worried because we thought it's going to mean a darker, possibly sweeter rosé. It's fractionally darker, but I had a bottle the other night and it's great. It's bone dry, it's crisp and high acidity. It's fantastic. I mean, everything these guys do. The Pinot Noir is great.
Oh, I'm a big fan of the Syrah. The Shiraz is great.
Yes, the Shiraz is great.
That Pinot Noir, number 4, I would pick 1 and 4 personally.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, white one has won the night. 59% of you.
Considerably won the night as well.
Which I think is a testament to the wine, because I think it's quite unusual.
It is.
For us on a try before you buy to have the white wine out the door. It's normally, we're all absolutely wasted, and it's the 14.5% monster at the end that we all say is lovely. But actually, the white wine has stayed in the hearts.
Best wine, and what song would you pair it with?
Song?
Yeah, what song would you pair that with?
That's more your department than mine.
Oh, God.
I mean, Kalasari is a Romanian dance, so...
Summertime by Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not...
Summertime. That one.
Yeah, you were giving it a bit of Mungo Jerry.
Yeah. Have you listened to the lyrics to that song?
Bad lyrics.
Yeah.
Mungo Jerry would be cancelled.
Yeah, he would
have
be
you
cancelled.
Seen him?
No.
Strange looking fella.
If your daddy's rich, take for a meal. If your daddy's poor, do what you feel. That's cancellation territory, that isn't it?
Proper cancel town right there. Yeah, Summertime by Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince for...
Hang on a minute. Can you like the Fresh Prince now, though? You might be cancelled for that.
No, he's all right. He just slapped him. He got heated. It's not R. Kelly. You know what I mean? Like, he just, he got heated.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to take a side here.
And then, what, with the red? With this Côte d'Rône one? I don't know, a bit of Celine Dion, something smooth and French talking, but not actually French.
Oh, well done.
Look at it, look at me.
Smooth and French speaking,
Yeah.
but not actually French.
I mean, I've very
Part of
much...
the Commonwealth. Is
Yeah.
South Africa part of the Commonwealth?
No, they've got to be. Big colony.
It sounds like it.
They drive on the left and use the Type G plug.
Sounds
which is the
sounds
3 pin.
Commonwealthy, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like Canada.
yeah.
She's Canadian.
She's
Canadian. Yeah.
French Canadian.
Anyways,
Yeah,
wow.
there we go. So yeah, there we go. There's my wines. Probably one. I'm changing my mind. 1 and 6 because it was an easier pair with a song. So there you go. That's my wine and song pairing of the night there. Yeah, thank you very much for joining. As we said, keep an eye on kits because there's a couple more coming down the line very soon. English being one of them. I dare say we're going to sneak a couple into a Try Before You Buy at some point.
For sure, the English wines will be in Try Before You Buys.
One thing we're definitely not putting in Try Before You Buy because we don't have the technology is the sparkling. And my God, that English sparkling is fantastic.
I wish you could try the English sparkling wine in a kit. I wish we had the technology to do it. We can't put sparkling wine in the pouches. They explode. But take a punt. Trust me on this. Take a punt on the English sparklers that go in stock soon. They are fantastic. Stop buying champagne for the money that it is. Take a crack at these English fizzes. They are fantastic. They're vintage. We'll go into that another day. But they're great quality. They are amazing for value for money. These guys, you know, a lot of English sparkling wine at the moment is super premium. You've got paid 20, 30, 40, 50 pound a bottle, even in your supermarkets. Yeah. These guys have cracked it at half the price, so urge you to try that. Yeah, English kit, look out for. If you've got a kit suggestion, we'd love to hear it. You know, send us an email, jump on the chat on the website. If there's a kit idea that you would like to see, a particular country or theme of any sort.
We had a lot of love for the Romanian one, which is fine, but I think it's just hard to bring new people into it. I think until you've done this,
it's a hard sell.
Until you've done this or you've tried some, people just go, "Oh, Romania, like,
I'm not sure I'm going to buy that." Yeah. So yeah, for sure, any recommendations on that? You should be getting an email. I think I might have already had it. I think I timed it for 9 o'clock. You should be getting an email coming through, which has got a button that will take you to all of these wines so that you can shop for them. Don't forget you've got your £10 voucher.
In the box.
In the box.
In the box.
Oh, it looks something like that. Your £10 voucher to come and spend in store. So yeah, you get an email. It will take you to the wines. Grab your favourite, grab a couple, spend your £10 voucher. Also in that email is a link to if you want to subscribe to Try Before You Buy. So if you subscribe, you save a little bit of money, a couple of quid each time. And also you don't have to remember. We'll just make sure it gets to you each month. And also in that email, right at the bottom, it will say, tell a mate and make 20 quid. If you share your referral code, which is at the bottom of that email with a friend, they'll get 20 quid to spend, which they could use to get one of these for free or a cheese and wine kit for like £2. And you'll get 20 quid as well, so you can have the next one of these for free or a cheese and wine kit or something as well. Please do refer. It's unlimited. You can share it with 10 friends and get £20 10 times over. It's a fantastic way for us to spread the message and expand the business. We're a tiny little small business. It's just us, and referrals is a fantastic way. So if you've had a nice time tonight, tell a couple of friends and you can benefit as well.
I've had a couple of questions on that as well because the link is something like iRefs, whatever. It's not Smash Grapes / That is correct. The software we use to do the referrals, because it's completely no way we could do it manually, iRefs is the right link. So use that, share it. It takes nothing to send it to someone that you know likes wine. Give them £20 off. And yeah, it'd be a massive, massive deal if you could share that with at least one person. That'd be great.
For sure.
When will the English sparkling be available? I'm hoping next week. It should have. One of the reasons that we've got this quite strange selection of wines tonight is we were hoping to have some English
tonight, but we were going to like sub out one of the Portuguese and the South African for English, weren't we?
Yeah, but we're still being bottled.
Still being bottled. I didn't expect them to say that. I thought they were loving life. They were like, take the wine, and then they're like, oh, it's still being bottled.
Yeah, but it's I'm hoping next week. I will. Well, to be fair, as soon as it comes in, you'll get emails. It'll be on our social. We're going to make a big splash with it because honestly, it is great.
Yeah, and incredible value for money.
What's the best wine to drink and watch the football? Well, if you're referring to the football as either the World Cup, which is going to be at Christmas, like what is that about?
Is that right? Is it?
Yeah, it was in Qatar.
I'm not across any of this.
No, you know, think what you think about Qatar, what they do, all of that. The World Cup is going to be in the winter. It's going to have to be a decent red.
We got loads of great stuff teed up for Christmas.
This South African one would be good actually because you could drink quite a lot of it. 90 minutes. That's at least 2.5 bottles.
2.5 bottles in 90 minutes?
It's pressure. The pressure gets to you.
Bloody hell.
I've sunk a bottle in 33 minutes. I could do it in rest.
All right. Whatever. Each to their own. No judgment.
I feel judged. Yeah, I would say, this nice South African or like a Rhone blend, like Sam said, because you could drink a bit of it.
We're going to have loads of great stuff for Christmas.
That's one of the reasons why beer and sport's good, because you can put quite a lot of beer away. But yeah, another great night. Says
tasting kit with a football would be good.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a football tasting kit.
I wonder whether we could do a Middle Eastern one.
Middle Eastern?
Well, not Middle Eastern.
Reaching there, aren't you?
Well, is like the Lebanon and places like that.
Yeah, Lebanon, Georgia.
Yeah.
Is that Middle East?
I'm not sure. Moldova
could get cancelled.
Could get cancelled. Israel produces wine. that could cause problems.
Let's have a look.
Yeah,
they might be referring to the ladies' football.
They could be referring to the ladies' football. Let's finish now.
When's the final?
This weekend. Yeah. What are we watching? Yeah, with the ladies' football this weekend.
I wish we had some English fizz for that. Actually.
Yeah,
that would have been good, wouldn't it?
Good. Yeah,
that's a marketing opportunity missed.
It's their fault. Yeah, no, we don't have any lion-related brands that we can push either.
No, go with the Vino Veri.
Yeah, wine one would be good for the football.
Summer wine.
Ready for? I don't think the weather's going to be great this weekend, but who knows. It's going to be great. We've got another heat wave coming apparently in August.
Woohoo!
So yeah, get the Vino Veri in. Right, Gawa, whatever that means.
Gawa.
No idea.
No.
Right, guys, thank you very much for joining. Keep your eyes peeled on your emails. If it hasn't already landed, it will land very shortly with the wines we've had from tonight in the order that we had them. We would love to see you back using that voucher. Equally, we'd love you to tell your friends, get them along. We're back at the end of August. I think it is the 29th. Yes,
it's like right at the end.
It is 29th. It's a long one. So it'll be another 4.5 weeks. So yeah, we'll see you around the 29th of August for that. If you do need your Smash Grape sticks between then, you can get yourself one of our tasting kits. Say the English one's coming soon. We've just launched the Love Sauvignon, Love Malbec. We've got the Spanish, French, Italian, cheese, charcuterie. We've got them all.
Go for them.
Do go and grab one. Again, use your referral code. Your friends can get one, and you can have
20 quid
off back yourself. All right. There we go. Thanks a lot. We will see you on the next one. But from us, have a great night. Hope you enjoyed all the wines, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Dan, and this is the Smashed Grapes Wine Club, the snobbery-free wine subscription where you can explore great wines picked purely for drinkability. Most wine subscriptions will tell you a wine's great based on heritage, reputation, and old-fashioned pretentiousness. At Smashed Grapes, we pick wines for one reason only, the glug factor. It's all about that lip-smacking flavour. Not only that, but we source from all independent producers and are 100% carbon neutral. So what do you get? Well, you get 6 bottles of wine, red, white, or mixed, whichever you prefer. There'll be some familiar favourites and some that we've picked from further afield that we know you're going to love. You get a copy of our monthly magazine, Wine Matter, an easy read for our easy drinking vinos, and some snacks because, hey, who doesn't love snacks? Deliveries are as often as you like. Pick a plan that suits you and you're free to cancel anytime. If you're a first-time subscriber, you'll get 30% off your first case. That's nearly 2 bottles for free. Grab yours now. Cheers. Bye.